What's your favorite scary movie?
Reader beware, you're in for a scare. Let's talk a little Goosebumps.
Are you okay?
Get the nurse! Get the nurse!
This is all connected. He's getting revenge.
Inspired by R.L. Stine's book series, Goosebumps follows groups of 5 high schoolers as they embark on a journey to investigate the tragic passing 3 decades earlier of a teen named Harold Biddle, while also unearthing dark secrets from their parents' past. If you grew up in the 90s like myself, there's probably a pretty good chance that you either read the Goosebumps books, watched the TV series, or both as a kid. Between Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, both of those series have played a huge part in why I'm such a big horror fan that I am today. But I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous going into this series just because I hold the original series and the book so near and dear to my heart. They played a huge part in my childhood, and the couple movies that we got with Jack Black, I just really had no interest in seeing those. And as far as you guys know, as far as reboots go, sometimes they can be kind of hit and miss. So yeah, I wasn't really sure what to expect with this series. And I will give you guys a heads up that they have changed some things from the original series, specifically with how certain characters looked in this series now. And that was one of the biggest things that I was really nervous about, because those, like, you know, the Haunted Mask, other different characters that have shown up, those were just so iconic for, specifically, you know, kids who grew up on that series on the books. And so I was a little nervous of if they're going to go a different route, how myself and other diehard fans are going to take that. And while obviously I love those original versions, I will tell you guys that I like what they did with some of those choices that they did here, and we'll get more into details about that in a little bit. So the premise of the series, it takes place during present day, and then you have these 5 high school kids who come together to investigate what happened to this kid 30 years ago, because they all start having these weird things start happening to each of them. You have the overall story of Harold Biddle and what happened to him, but then each specific episode will focus on a specific book from the original series. So for the first 5 episodes, you have Say Cheese and Die, The Haunted Mask, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, Go Eat Worms, and Reader Beware. One of the main reasons why this new series really works for me is the cast. Mainly the kids here, but also Justin Long. Man, it's always cool to see Justin Long pop up in a new horror project, and here is no different. You can tell that he's having a lot of fun with the role. His character, Mr. Brett, has moved into the old Biddle house, and of course, strange things start happening to him. Then you have our group of teens led by Briones, Yi Puig, Miles McKenna, Zack Morris, and Will Price. Unfortunately, I haven't been a huge fan of the character that Will's playing in this series so far, and I don't necessarily think it's the actor's fault. I don't think I've actually seen him in anything else so far, so it's hard to really judge him based off this one role. I honestly think it might have to do a little bit more with how his character was written, but I'm interested to see where they take him in the rest of the series as well. Otherwise, I really enjoy this group of kids, and I love the chemistry that they have with each other. And it's funny because initially this group, they don't necessarily hang out at school all the time, but all this weird stuff that's happening to them, that's what kind of brings them together. But the chemistry is great, and I actually care about all these kids, which is always a plus for sure. You know, it makes me more invested in the stories. And like I mentioned earlier, the series does change some things up when it comes to some of the stories. A specific example being the look of the Haunted Mask, which I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about, because the Haunted Mask is one of my favorite episodes from the original series, and that mask is just so iconic for us 90s kids. But I was actually pleasantly surprised and give them props for trying something different here. And even though certain characters or certain things might feel a little bit different from the books or that original series, I think one of the biggest compliments that I can give this new series is that they do a good job of capturing the spirit of those original books and the original series. I also wasn't sure about the structure that they decided to go with this new Goosebumps series, because with the original one, you had each episode would focus on a specific book from the book series. Granted, there were 2-parters, but for the most part, each episode focused on a particular book. Here, though, they have an overarching story that they're able to weave throughout the episodes, but at the same time focusing on specific elements from particular books for each episode, and I just thought that they did a really good job of balancing that, because that seems to be a new thing that they do with reviving some of these series. Like with Are You Afraid of the Dark, a same thing where that kind of had, each episode was a specific story. They kind of just had this overarching story and took some like general elements here and there. So I was a little nervous going into this if that was going to be the same case here, but I like how they are able to balance that out. And don't get me wrong though, the series hasn't been perfect so far through these first 5 episodes. Like I mentioned, I haven't been a huge fan of the one particular character played by Will in the series. We'll see where the rest of the episodes take him, but so far he's probably been my least favorite. And then just as far as some of these special effects and the CGI, they've been a little questionable at times, but granted, I don't know, I didn't look up what the budget that the show had, so that could be kind of forgiven. Some of the practical stuff, though, I've loved. But yeah, the CGI has been a little iffy at times. Overall, though, I'm having so much fun with this series. They've been able to capture some of that magic the original series had, while also doing its own thing that I think will attract newcomers to the Goosebumps brand overall. And overall, though, even though it takes a little bit to get going in that first episode, I think things really kick into gear when you get into episode 2, and then the next couple episodes from there. But overall, as far as the score goes, I'm going to give this an 8.7 out of 10. Granted, this is only for the first 5 episodes of the series, so just keep that in mind. But I am loving what I am seeing so far. It has made this Goosebumps fan really happy. I think if you guys are fans of the original books and the original series, that you guys are going to dig this as well. I am curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are, though, when you do get to check this out. It is going to be premiering on Disney Plus this coming Friday, October 13th. So once you guys get a chance to check out the episodes, I definitely want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. If this is your first time diving into the Goosebumps brand, or if you are a longtime fan like myself, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up, and as always, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.